not comply. Words to live by from the Daily Mojo.
All right. So what is the latest on the school loan, the student loan bailout? That again, it's still stunning that after the Supreme Court rules, Biden is like, well, they got it wrong, and then we'll find another way. It's like,
right.
Wait, what? What? These people are nuts. What's the latest?
Yeah, well, it not only are they nuts, but it also shows that they are completely unmoored by any idea of constitutional restraint, any idea of restraint whatsoever. So what they've done is a really complicated scheme, which is to say, well, if you've paid a certain amount or you've been paying for a certain period of time, then we'll provide you some forgiveness. We'll provide some forgiveness to some people. In fact, it's so complicated. I've tried to read through it. It's one of those where we're going to have to trust, and of course you should never trust the government, that they'll send you something and say, well, you're eligible for this, and we'll assume that it's correct. However, part of the way this scheme came about is they looked at instances where they had gotten it wrong administratively in the past for public servants, because there are certain benefits that you get, student loan deferments, reductions, and cancellations you get if you go to work for the government. By the way, think about how ridiculous that is. If the government gives you money, gives you other people's money, not yours, to go to college, and then the government lets you go work for the government, then you can get more money off your student loans. This is yet another way that government workers, and I live around a lot of government workers here in Northern Virginia, continue to get over on the rest of us, whether we're talking about those who are elected or those who are bureaucrats, and it's all unacceptable. But long story short, that's what the Biden administration is proposing to do. That's what they're doing. And the interesting thing is the Supreme Court even said, they quoted Nancy Pelosi when she said the president does not have that power. Congress has that power, and Congress has not decided to do that.
You think they will?
I don't at this point, because here's the problem. And this is something that goes for Democrats and for Republicans, and it even goes for people within families. So think about, on one hand, if you are the parent, you're in your 60s, maybe you're getting into your 70s, and you had to work a very long time to repay student loans. Now, your child, who's in his 20s or maybe in his 30s, is now going to suddenly get forgiveness. Now, on one hand, you love your child, so you're going to say, well, this is great, son. I'm glad you have that. But on the other hand, it's also going to bother you that you had to go without this, that, or the other for all those years in order to pay for those loans and all the difficult times you had. It's going to bother. It is one of those things, just like COVID, that catches so many people of so many different persuasions in so many different ways that it's going to be very difficult to say, okay, we'll do this.
I was looking up just now because there is one of the legs or tentacles of this new plan, and it's called SAVE, right? It's the SAVE plan, or is that the old plan?
No, I think the SAVE plan is a new plan.
It's a new plan, okay. That if you've got like 5 years of paying on time, that they'll wipe the rest of it clean. That was the other thing. And it was like, wish they do that mortgages.
Well, and some sources have even said not even necessarily on time, but it's if you're in repayment mode and you've made payments and you've made partial payments and not all the payments are on time, then you can do that. And then if you've been in forbearance for a certain period of time, then you can have a reduction or have it commuted as well. So this is, like I said, it's not entirely clear from source to source, but what we know even then is what happens when we let the government, which is not exactly known for efficiency and following the rules, to go ahead and administer this. Even when you factor in normal human error, that means there's going to be a lot of difficulty. Some people who won't receive it who should, some people will receive it who won't, and vice versa.
It just, you have to laugh, otherwise you cry. What do you make of all of this? Off topic, but what do you make of all of the UFO stuff now? And the what is? I don't trust anything. So what do you think's going on with all of this disclosure stuff?
Well, I'm a Christian, and I believe God created all of this that we're in, and I don't believe that we're the only sentient beings that were created. He didn't have to tell us. He didn't tell us everything that he did. So therefore, I do believe there can be aliens. I don't know if it'll necessarily look like the Star Trek universe. I sure hope it doesn't look like the Star Wars bar with Jabba. But
Right.
I do believe that's possible. But at the same time, this is sadly what you'd expect from the way the government is operated. Number one, they'll try to keep everything totally under wraps and tell you absolutely nothing. And then when it's beneficial for them, they'll do it in order to distract from other things. Like, I don't know, spending a lot of money on Ukraine, or having the fiasco with the student loans, or just about anything that's going on, most notably inflation, which has continued, by the way. It may be continuing at a slower rate, but it's continued. So looking at all of that gets people, because we have short attention spans now, focused on other things that we shouldn't be.
You think it's a diversion from earthly matters at this point?
Exactly.
And
exactly. Yeah.
And all right. Because I want to believe, and I can't, because I don't trust them at all. And now that Chuck Schumer apparently is at the helm of this disclosure thing, which just shot it straight to hell for me, because I don't trust a thing he says. But it's disappointing because I want to believe. Well, I do believe. I want to see something. All right, and let's see here today. Go ahead.
Now, I have a quick question. I just wonder, since Chuck Schumer's in charge, is he making up the information in the same rooms where they make up ballots to get Democrats elected? I'm just wondering, just curious, because it would be interesting to see how they go through the process. Maybe do it on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So coming up the 24th, which is 6 days from today, the debut of the People's House.
This is so exciting. So Freedomworks is very lucky to play a key role in the speaker's fight earlier this year. Behind the scenes, we were working on that. We were also working on the whip election. So we had a lot of involvement in that. And so we were able to make a great movie featuring some of the participants, such as Andy Biggs, also Mark Meadows, to talk about what happened, to give the public a front seat view. So if you're in the DC area, or you can get there, 6 o'clock, Monday, the 24th, at the Freedomworks office, 111 K Street Northeast, right by the train station. Come see us. It's going to be amazing, and we'll have some of the members in attendance.
The First Amendment lives here. Watch and listen at thedailymojo.com.